Chapter 3. Marcus drifted in and out of the abyss, his mind tethered to consciousness by the raw, throbbing pain in his ankle. He was moving, jolted, dragged, carried. He wasn't sure. His body felt weightless one moment and unbearably heavy the next, as though reality itself was shifting with every heartbeat. Light, fire, shadows. He blinked awake. Flickering torchlight painted the gnarled trees in sickly orange hues, twisting their branches into clawed hands reaching for the sky. Dark figures moved between them, whispering in guttural tones, their faces streaked with paint, red, black, ochre. A distant drumbeat pulsed through the night like a heartbeat. Then, darkness again. Cold, a scent of damp earth, the distant wail of something inhuman. Marcus's eyes flooded open once more. His captors walked in silence now, their movements barely disturbing the undergrowth. One of them turned his head slightly, just enough for Marcus to glimpse his face. A gaunt, hollow-cheeked man with a necklace of bones, his eyes unreadable in the gloom. Beyond him, barely visible between the trees, crude wooden effigies loomed. Figures bound in vines, their forms twisted as if frozen mid-scream. A chill crawled up Marcus's spine, then darkness again. Heat, the scent of burning herbs. Voices raised in chant. Marcus gasped awake. He was being carried now, slung over the shoulder of a warrior, the man's muscles tensed beneath a rough wolf-pelt cloak. They were passing through a circle of stone pillars, each one taller than a man, their surfaces covered in ancient carvings. Shadowy figures lurked at their base, watching with unreadable expressions. A woman stood among them, her long, matted hair adorned with feathers and beads. Her face was half hidden beneath a dark hood, but her lips moved, whispering something, words Marcus couldn't understand. His head swam. Darkness again. Marcus woke to silence. For a moment, he thought it had all been a dream. The whispers, the figures in the woods, the cold hands dragging him through the night. It must have been fevered visions from the pain in his leg. But then he tried to move. His wrists didn't budge. The cold bite of rope pressed into his skin. His heart sank. The world came into focus. He was in a crude wooden cage, thick branches lashed together with sinew. The ground beneath him was packed dirt, strewn with straw. He could see the faint glow of torches beyond the bars, illuminating the shapes of men and women moving about a camp. Some sharpened weapons, others tended to animal skins, but all spoke in the same sharp, unfamiliar tongue. Marcus swallowed hard. This wasn't a dream. A shadow shifted near the cage. A man stepped forward, a warrior, broad-shouldered, his bare chest streaked with red clay. He crouched, dark eyes scanning Marcus with quiet intensity. His gaze flicked down to Marcus's swollen ankle, then back to his face. He said something. The words were foreign, harsh, clipped, but there was no cruelty in his tone. Marcus stared at him, his breath shallow. The warrior frowned. He gestured toward Marcus's leg, then mimicked the motion of walking. Marcus didn't respond. The warrior exhaled sharply, shaking his head as though speaking to a slow-witted child. Then, without warning, he stood and unlatched the cage door. Marcus's pulse spiked. The moment the door swung open, instinct took over. He lunged forward, pushing past the warrior, his bound hands awkwardly grasping at the dirt for leverage. He didn't get far. The instant he put weight on his bad ankle, agony shot through his leg like fire. His body crumpled, his vision flashing white with pain. He barely had time to catch his breath before rough hands grabbed him by the shoulders. Another warrior, taller, leaner, his long, unkempt hair braided with leather cords, hauled him up as though he weighed nothing. He barked something to the others, his voice filled with dry amusement. Then, with effortless strength, he tossed Marcus onto a nearby wooden table. Marcus thrashed, but the second warrior held him down, pinning his arms. His heart hammered in his chest. Something moved beside him. The hooded woman from before, the one with the feathers in her hair, stepped into the firelight. Her eyes were black as coal. She reached for his ankle. Marcus sucked in a sharp breath, his entire body tensing as her fingers prodded the swollen flesh. He tried to pull away, but the hands holding him were unyielding. She muttered something under her breath. A chant, a prayer. Then she gripped his foot and twisted. A sharp, wet pop. Pain, blinding, searing, ripped through him. Marcus screamed. The last thing he saw before the darkness took him was her eyes, calm and knowing, as if she had done this 100 times before. Then, nothing. When Marcus woke again, his body felt like lead. The fire had burned lower, casting long, flickering shadows across the camp. For a moment, he didn't move. His mind was sluggish, his limbs heavy with exhaustion. But something was different. The raw, stabbing pain in his ankle had dulled to a deep ache. He shifted, glancing down. A bandage, rough but secure, wrapped around his ankle. Someone had treated him. Marcus let out a shaky breath. The hooded woman, the druid, was slumped in a wooden chair near the fire, her head tilted to the side, her breathing slow and steady. She was asleep. He wasn't sure if that made him feel better or worse. Escape was impossible in this state. He could barely move without sending pain lancing through his leg. But maybe, just maybe, he could find something useful, something to protect himself. He scanned his surroundings, trying to make sense of the camp, trying to find anything he could use. Then, thud. A small rock bounced off the cage bars. Marcus froze. Another rock. Thwack. His head snapped toward the direction it came from, his pulse quickening. Beyond the firelight, half hidden behind a tree, a figure stood watching him. A boy, around Marcus's age. Their eyes met. The boy didn't move. He just stared, unblinking. Marcus's breath caught in his throat. Then, the boy raised a finger to his lips.